I want to jump to one other thing because, Andrew Breitbart, of course, said that politics is downstream from culture. And you've been talking a bit about Taylor Swift and what's going on over here with her and her football boyfriend. So, yes, we'll show you the New York Times headline here. Right after the debate, she had an Instagram post ready. Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris. Before we get to the nuts and bolts on that, I saw this, Megyn. Check this out. As it pertains to climate change. This is from the N Wokeness Twitter account. Taylor Swift emits 8,205 tons of CO2 in a year. An average American emits 16. And of course, climate change was one of the things she mentioned in her reasoning for supporting Kamala Harris. My take on this is Taylor Swift did not write the statement. I don't know that she cares about politics or knows who any of these people are. I think this is much more an attack on a lot of the dads of America, that you get all of the young girls who love Taylor Swift to kind of dad comes home from work and suddenly he has to be assaulted by them because they support Donald Trump, and it can just hack away again at what's going on in people's homes.
This is why I'm so mad about this. And this is why I went off on her last night. There's a little girl right now in maybe Wisconsin, some Midwestern state, whose parents are going through a divorce. This little girl has acne and is coming into puberty and into her adult female body and is feeling uncomfortable. And this little girl may be on the spectrum. That is a typical profile of a child who goes down the gender rabbit hole, who maybe isn't minded enough at home because the parents are in the midst of a divorce, et cetera. And she finds herself on Reddit for 3 hours a day or one of these darker websites. And this trans ideology takes hold of her in a dangerous and pernicious way. And the parents aren't around to realize just how far she's gone. And this little girl is going to declare, I think I'm a boy, because the internet will sell it to her as the solution to all of the problems I just listed. None of those problems is real. It's just that you're trans. That's how this works. And they will love bomb her into believing this is true. And she will go to her parents and say, I want you to put me on puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones, and I want so-called top surgery. It's so benign sounding. Yes, it's a double mastectomy where I'll have tubes coming out of me. I'll never be able to breastfeed a child, et cetera. But I want it because I'm secretly a boy. And if they give it to her, she will be sterile for life. She will never breastfeed a child. She will never achieve sexual orgasm. And this girl is 13 and wants to make these decisions for herself. And when those parents say no to her, this little girl will be able to walk across the border and go to Minnesota, thanks to Tim Walz. And a court will seize custody of her from her Wisconsin parents and will funnel her into the Minnesota system, which will give her the puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones, and will happily cut off her breasts and chop up her genitals in order to, quote, make her a boy. And the reason that they will do that is because of Kamala Harris's running mate, and her policies are exactly the same as his. And this little girl may do all of this after one day, or in advance of one day voting for the ticket that did all of this. And when she hits 18 and realizes she was just going through normal adolescent strife, but she no longer has her breasts and she has an Adam's apple and she sounds like a man and she looks like a man, and forgive me, but where a normal female clitoris should be, she has something looking bizarre and like a mini penis, because that's what happens. She's going to have Taylor Swift to blame, because supporting that ticket is a blessing on everything I just listed. And so she is no heroine to young girls. She's a danger to them. If she's going to take the power she has, thanks to her singing and her songs about her love life and inability to actually meet somebody who will treat her right, and turn it into a manipulation of young girls on the, in her own words, LGBTQ front, then shame on her. And shame on her boyfriend, lover, whatever he is, Travis Kelce, who was similarly irresponsible in pushing the Pfizer vaccine to his young, teenaged male fans without a thought for who would be around to help them when their heart-scarring myocarditis popped up as a result of it. These two will be in her Rhode Island mansion, which is the most beautiful, biggest, whitest house you've ever seen on a cliff overlooking the Atlantic, sipping their drinks and saying, let them eat cake. They won't be there to help that girl clean up her life or to help that boy's parents when they grieve his loss from this devastating heart condition. They will just be wrapping themselves in sanctimony about how open and inclusive they were. And this is why I ended my bit on my show that night with the following: F you. F you, Taylor Swift. That's how I feel. I'm so angry about this. If she just came out and said, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because I think she's the better leader, whatever. To specifically cite Tim Walz and his stance on the trans issue is disgusting.